Hello and welcome to CadoinkStudios. We have for you today the fourth game in the best of 5 series between Jack and PowerRanger, and let's go right into the game. So, in the first game, Jack took the prize of winning that game, and in the second game, PowerRanger took the game, and in the third game, Jack took it. So, it is currently 2-1, and if Jack wins this game, then he will win the series with a 3-1 score, and if PowerRanger wins, they will have to play one more game. So anyway, today we have Jack on the 6 o'clock position of Metalopolis as the orange Terran, while on the left-hand side we have the blue Protoss PowerRanger. They're spawning in close air. They seem to spawn in close air about every time. Maybe we will see some airplay this time, maybe we won't. I am not sure of this. But we shall soon see. PowerRanger's not a player who particularly likes to go any kind of Stargate play unless he's going for Void Rays, but he particularly likes the Zealots and the Stalkers, which are two very good units, and he plays really well with these units, while Jack likes the Marine Marauder Tank Ball with Medevac drop. So the two players are scouting out the close air positions first. We see Jack is going to get to PowerRanger's base before PowerRanger, and he's going to see this gateway, as well as the fact that PowerRanger does not have any gas at this time. He is just now putting up his first assimilator. PowerRanger is working his way over, and oh my goodness, because he queued up the movement path of his probe, the probe is going to pop over here, and he's not going to go any further because this is walled off, so the AI is just going to have him continue to the next spot. And I'm thinking PowerRanger might be a little confused. Hopefully he'll just realize that Jack walled off. But Jack is going to see that PowerRanger is going Gateway Cybernetics Core, per usual, and Jack is going double gas, which PowerRanger will not see. And this is interesting because if this is what I think it is, it would be great to see Jack go Banshees at this time, especially since they're in such close air positions, and he's getting really early gas. It would lead me to believe that he would be going some sort of Banshee play. At least this is something I used to do a lot on the ladder. But currently against Protoss, I am trying for more Marauder heavy builds, seeing as I've been losing to a lot of mass Stalker type of plays. So we see another gateway coming down for PowerRanger, a 2-gate play. He's opting not to get a Zealot or Stalker at this time. He's instead working on this gateway, warp gates, and he's chrono boosting out probes. So his economy is going to be really good. In fact, if we look at the units counting station, he has 19 probes to Jack 16, so he has quite a bit of probes, which is going to give him a bit of an economic advantage. I don't know how I feel about this, because I feel like Jack could attack fairly early, and he should really be spending his chrono boosts on maybe a Stalker as well as this warp gates. But it is going to allow him, however, to get this early Nexus fast expands. We see on Jack's side, we do not see a Banshee sort of play. We do see a factory coming out as well as this barracks with the tech lab. Something he's gone every game, and it's worked pretty well in every game, so hopefully it will continue to work for him, and yeah, hopefully he'll be successful with that sort of play. We still see no units coming out for PowerRanger. This is a lot of time he could be spending building units, and it's really risky for him because if Jack came right now, PowerRanger would have nothing to respond to this kind of force, especially since Warp Gates is not finished. If he started the Zealots or the Stalkers or Sentries right now, he wouldn't be able to do anything. And I think Jack with his SCV should really run up and see that nothing is going on, because that'll give him a lot of information. It'll tell him, like, oh my goodness, I could take like an expansion right now if I wanted to. Shoot, you could even take 2 if you wanted, seeing as he's expanded and he has no units, and he's teching, going for this robotics facility. So Jack really needs to be in charge of doing the scouting, and here he goes with his SCV. He's going to see the Robo Bay as well as the 3 gates, and the warp gates finishing up. I think he might be a little confused as to why there are no units on the field. He also sees that there is only one gas, so he's not going to be able to produce that many sentries, and one sentry does pop up, but outside of that sentry he won't be able to support any kind of Colossus play or any kind of Stargate play. So this is a lot of really valuable information for Jack, and hopefully he did not see that expansion, so I think he might be very confused as to what Power Ranger is doing with all his sources, which he is indeed floating them. So this is very good by Jack taking this expansion. Now I think he feels safe enough to do this. Now that he has a siege tank and he saw that Power Ranger does not have that many units, he's poking around trying to make sure there aren't any pylons put back here. We do, however, see one right here, which is a very good pylon by Power Ranger. But I would like to see Jack kind of push. Pushing is one of the greatest ways to get information from your opponent. If you don't know what's going on and you don't know what kind of unit composition they have, a good thing to do is just to push. If you can engage and see if you can pick anything off. If you can't, you can back away with at least having the knowledge of what unit composition the other player has, as well as maybe some tech buildings and expansions that the player might have, such as this natural that Power Ranger has taken and not quite saturated yet. He really should pull some probes off his main and send them to his natural. Also, he should rally his main base down to the expansion if he's going to keep this much oversaturation in his main. Back in Jack's base, we do see a barracks with a reactor and another barracks, a third barracks coming down for Jack. He's going to be going for what seems to be heavy marine tank with a few marauders, as we see right now. And like I said, this is that unit composition thing. If Power Ranger had some units and he could run down and poke and see what's going on, he would be able to see this sort of mix and kind of deduce what sort of buildings Jack has and what sort of play he's going for. We do see a Stargate going down, which is very interesting. He's building the gateway all the way over here to kind of conceal it. Honestly, a better option would be to put it over here, because then when the Void Ray finishes, it'll get over quicker. And we don't know if Jack's going to do any scans or not. And honestly, better positioning and better macro, to me, is more valuable than concealing information such as this. So we do see two Stargates going down. He was floating quite a bit of minerals, so he thought probably he should put down some tech buildings. He really needs to make sure he's getting gas from everything, which he is. That's very good. He's going to be able to build the Void Rays, but he should really expand again and send some of these probes out, or just start building a ton of gateways, which he is doing, because he's just floating so many minerals. He should just be warping in tons and tons of zealots. He is getting zealot legs, which is another reason for getting tons of zealots, other than the mass amount of gas. We do see an observer down. It was sitting there for quite a while, and he's finally sending him on its way. He's going to come over here and see this, these two starports, as well as all these barracks. So we will see more likely a heavy medevac Marine Marauder play rather than a mech sort of play. We don't see a lot of factories out for Jack at this time. We do see a force of zealots going up to the north position, maybe to do some scouting, maybe to prepare for some sort of flank situation in case he sees Jack attacking anytime soon. We do see a Raven coming out for Jack at this time with that tech lab, or the starport with the tech lab on it. I think this might be in anticipation of Dark Templar, seeing as in the past Power Ranger has used Dark Templar. But I like this reactor going on to the starport. It will be able to produce double medevac as well as double Viking if he so chooses. Double Viking will be very good against this sort of Void Ray play, as well as more Marines. But it'll also be good if the Protoss player decides to go Colossi or anything like that. So I do like this more than I like the one with the Tech Lab. However, because Jack is feeling a little bit of that fear, he did decide to get this Raven up. I think a better option would be just to get this engineering bay and then put up some turrets in the front, because that'll allow you to get upgrades as well as have that detection. And the thing is, when you shouldn't be in this kind of like guessing mode anyway. Jack really should be in this sort of like, okay, I'm going to push up, see if I can see a Dark Shrine. If I don't see a Dark Shrine, I won't build detection. If I do see a Dark Shrine, I will. So Jack should really be on the ball as far as like poking into his opponent's base and scouting it out and making sure that Dark Templar aren't coming, rather than preparing for something that may never come at all. We do see 3 Void Rays on the field already, as well as 2 more on the way, and a nice force of Zealots up here. I do like this sort of Zealot Void Ray play, because the Zealots will be able to destroy these tanks when he flanks them. However, Jack does have quite a bit of Marines, and I don't know if these Void Rays will be able to hold off a large amount of Marines, especially after he attacks with those Void Rays. Jack will probably start pumping out Vikings as well as even more Marines. The Marines will, however, be very good against the Zealots. So I like this by Jack sieging up here. He's going to poke up with his Raven and see what he can see. And oh my goodness, he's going to see all these Void Rays. He's going to run it back, and now he should be like, okay, there are the Void Rays. And sure enough, we see a Viking going up for Jack at this time. I believe that's in response to this Void Ray play. If not, then maybe a little bit of a fear of Colossi. He is putting down an auto turret. 2 auto turrets. I don't know the reasoning for this. They're a little far back. Oh, and here comes the Zealots. This is exactly what Power Ranger is incredibly good at, coming from behind and destroying these tanks per usual. And here comes the Void Rays coming down to do some damage. And oh my goodness, look at all those Zealots getting a nice surround on these forces. They're just cleaning up all these Marines and Marauders. And Jack really needs to start spending his minerals. He's floating 1,000 minerals. Really should start producing just a ton of Marines, seeing as he saw all those Void Rays. And now at this time, Power Rangers should send his Void Rays and try to poke into Jack's main and see what he can see. I would even like to see an expansion taken by Power Ranger. Shoot, even 2 expansions. He should take this gold, and he should take this one up here, seeing as he's floating 1,000 minerals, which is quite a bit. And now that he's taken out Jack's army, Jack can't really afford to attack. So it'd be very nice by Power Ranger if he could just take this time to take expansions now that he feels kind of safe. Once again, spawning a lot of Zealots. Still has a sentry here to block off this ramp if he feels the need to do that. Another Raven coming out for Jack. I don't know what the reasoning for this is. Seeing as Power Ranger put a whole bunch of gas into those Void Rays, I don't see him going for a Dark Shrine tech, although actually he's floating quite a bit of minerals, so he could do that if he wanted to. I would like to see just like 20 gateways thrown down, honestly, just boom, 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 start putting down gateways. You have the money, you're not spending it, so just start mass producing units and even more Stargates if you want. We do see some Hellions coming out for Jack. I think this is in response to all the Zealot plays. I think that's a pretty decent choice by Jack, but it is kind of a tech change for him, seeing as he only has, he doesn't have any more than a few factories. It just has 2 at the time, and neither of them have tech labs. But here comes the Void Rays. They're going to poke into Jack's base and see what they can see. They're going to see this turret, and they're going to be able to destroy it really quick, and they're going to charge on the starport and even destroy it if they can. It might be better to try to pick off this reactor, but Jack's not going to respond in time. And so the starport does go down, and here comes the Viking to take care of these Void Rays, but they're just not going to be enough, so they're pulling back, and the Marines get here in time to try to do some damage. He really needs to stem these Marines and focus fire on these Void Rays, but the Void Rays are fully charged, but man, there just might not be enough of them. He has some Marines over here that he's going to use to flank him, and there goes all the Void Rays. Man, Jack did a very good job of holding that off. He's going to need to put down another starport and maybe pump out a few more Vikings just in case, as well as continue to make these Marines. And we do see an expansion for Power Ranger. See, that was great, being able to poke in and buy him some time to take this expansion. He should go ahead and rally these onto the mineral line, seeing as they're just sitting there right now at this current time. But I would even take this gold if I could, and build some more gateways. He really needs some more. He can't really support, or he can support 6 gateways. In fact, he can over-support them. He supports them a little too much. You see players like White Raw with like 13, 14 gateways, and this is something that I would love to see out of Power Ranger. We see all these Zealots kind of patrolling around up in this gold base, making sure Jack hasn't taken it, but it's going to go around it. Oh my gosh, he's going to get hit by this tank, and Jack's going to see this, and here comes all the Zealots. I don't know if it's going to be enough. He's even put down an auto turret. There's a tank up on this high ground, and these Zealots are a little bit out of position. A few of them running up into Jack's third to do some damage, but Jack's third isn't saturated, so they're not going to be able to get much, especially with him floating that up in the air like that, and these units are going to be able to pick off these Zealots quite fine. We see this pylon is still here. It hasn't been utilized by Power Ranger yet, but it'll be quite nice when Jack has this saturated. He can just spawn or warp in some Zealots and Stalkers here and run them up and shut down this expansion. We do see a few Phoenixes coming in to kind of poke around, scout. They won't be able to do too much. These auto turrets are going to, shoot them and deal a lot of damage. He needs to run them away, but hopefully that gave him a little bit of information. Here's 2 more Void Rays, also out of position, kind of running into that turret fire. And here comes Jack's Marine Marauder Force as well as some Vikings. Oh, these Phoenixes are in response to these Vikings, but man, they just didn't do enough damage, and this barracks might go down. And oh man, kind of a waste of a Raven, but it does go down. They are able to take out both the Void Rays as well as both the Phoenixes. Very nice by Jack. I think this is a good response by Jack, going ahead and pushing. He needs to see what sort of thing Power Ranger has, which is just a ton of Zealots per usual, as well as 2-2 upgrades. And on Jack's side, we do see 2-1 upgrades for Jack. He's going to pick off these 2 Zealots. I think Power Ranger sent him down to do some scouting. And oh, nice! Sieging these tanks on the low ground and using the Vikings to get vision up on the high ground so he can blow up this this forge and this gateway. Just absolutely fantastic play. It looks like we might see a counterattack by Power Ranger. However, Jack does have a nice little force of units back at home. We see he's not doing anything about this third. He really should be landing it and saturating it, as well as building some more barracks and/or factories, because he's floating quite a bit of minerals. Oh man, these tanks might be out of position again. These Zealots are going down. Oh, they're just going to go right past them. They're not going to try to attack. Jack re-sieging his tanks and putting his Vikings up on the high ground so he can get vision of this warp gate, try to destroy it. And here comes the Zealots. They're going to be able to pick off these tanks. Oh man, but maybe not in time. Okay, they're getting there, and yeah, sure enough, they're going to pick off all these tanks. Power Ranger's really good about picking off Jack's tanks. However, Jack just has too big of an army for it to really even matter for Power Ranger. Jack really should pull his Marines back when Zealots are coming like that so he can deal with that sort of force, and Power Ranger should really have some Stalkers sitting and waiting at home, as well as some Colossi to deal with this huge Marine Marauder ball that we see. These Zealots aren't going to be able to do enough damage on this ramp, and sure enough, they're taken down, and here comes all the probes. And man, I do not see this ending well for Power Rangers this time. We do see another Stargate as well as a few more Void Rays out, but Jack is going to be able to get up in his main and start picking off these pylons as well as these gateways. Here's 5 or 6 more Zealots to come in and do some damage, but there's just too many units on Jack's side. We do see a Void Ray back in Jack's base, Hero Void Ray destroying all these buildings if it can, but I think in a base trade right now, Jack's kind of favored to win it. Some more Zealots coming in. He should really just land these Vikings. Might as well get a few more shots and a little bit more firepower, especially since these Void Rays are not being utilized at this time. And Jack trying to pick off this Cybernetics core as well as this gateway. And if he picks off this Cybernetics core, there won't be any more there won't be any more Stalkers, but he does manage to get 2 more. His first 2 Stalkers spawned right before they're able to, right before the Cybernetics core goes down, and he does pick off that pylon, shutting down this gateway as well as this Twilight Council. And we see a reinforcement from Jack coming up, as well as some Vikings up in the north position to pick off these, this third base by Power Ranger. And here comes the Void Rays to pick off the rest of this Marine Marauder force, but there is the reinforcements on the way, and this one Void Ray goes down, and I don't know if these 3 will be able to take out this many Marines, especially with 3-2 upgrades. But the Void Rays do, however, have 2-1-1 upgrades, and yeah, the Void Ray sure enough is going to go down to these Marines, and he needs to siege up this tank, pick off these gateways in this Nexus, and I just don't see what Power Ranger can do at this time. Producing 4 Void Rays, having 2 Void Rays on the field, but it's just not going to be enough against Jack's 3 bases as well as this army at home. Oh man, sure enough, that gateway goes down, and looks like this other gateway is unpowered, and this Nexus doesn't even matter that it exists. But here comes some more Void Rays to do some damage, but the Marine fire is just too much. There are 3 Void Rays to this whole force of Marines, and there's 1 more Void Ray left. Will it be enough? No. Just isn't enough to take on this force. Wow. Vikings in the third, destroying some probes. You could lift them back up if you wanted to, but it looks like they're going to be able to pick off the rest of this force. I don't know why you didn't use these Void Rays to pick off those obnoxious Vikings. But the Void Rays are going to be able to pick up the rest of these Marine forces, but look at this, another force by Jack. You can see all these Marines and the few Marauders, because he just knows that Power Ranger is going to be producing Zealots and Void Rays. So, I would say this is about the end of the game. I think when Power Ranger sees this force, he's going to GG, and that's going to be the end of it. It's going to be able to pick off this Void Ray. as well as these two Void Rays, and sure enough, they go down. And along with them, Power Ranger's third and final base. And GG by Power Ranger, as Jack takes the gold. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Moorecraft series. This was a best of 5 between Power Ranger and Jack. I think both players played incredibly well, but Jack taking the victory 3-1 against Power Ranger, so congratulations to Jack. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the series, and there will be more Moorecraft series to come. So we will see you guys later. Bye.